France, a prisoner is on the loose in the north. This is after a police van was ambushed. Now, I want to give you a little warning because some of you may find these images a tad distressing. We're going to have a little look here. The images show gunmen carrying heavy weapons. 2 officers have been shot dead after their vehicle was rammed in what appears to be, and what is, an orchestrated attack.
Yes, several hundred police officers are now involved in this manhunt throughout Normandy and some of the surrounding areas. It's only an hour and a half away from Paris. Well, Emmanuel Macron is saying that everything is being done to find the perpetrators.
Well, we're now joined by our security editor, Mark White. Mark, thank you very much indeed for joining us. What's the latest on this manhunt?
Well, that manhunt is still ongoing. Hundreds of gendarmes and other law enforcement agencies involved now in trying to hunt down this gang. And of course, the prisoner himself, Mohamed Amra, described as the leader of a narcotics network in France. He'd been jailed for aggravated theft and burglary offences, so effectively theft and burglary with menaces, with violence and coercion. Also, he had been indicted in relation to the homicide and attempted homicide of 2 other individuals linked to the drugs trade, so described as a very nasty, violent individual. He had tried, according to authorities, to escape from his own prison cell a couple of days ago, according to French authorities, to saw the bars open at that time. So he had been placed under a higher level of security. He was being transferred from one state institution to another. That should have been a very closely guarded secret. The route that that vehicle was to have taken, that convoy was to have taken. But on the A154, which is in southern Normandy, at about 11 o'clock this morning, local time in that area, that convoy was hijacked by this gang in 2 vehicles. One vehicle smashing into the front of that convoy. The images that were provided on social media by someone who was on one of the buses, a tour bus that was passing through that toll booth at the time, really giving an indication of the violence that ensued there. You can see on the images a couple of the 4 people who were involved apparently in breaking this prisoner free. They were clearly armed, as you can see, with Kalashnikov's AK-47 semi-automatic weapons, and apparently, according to authorities, they opened fire without mercy on those prison officers. 6 of them were struck. We're told that at least 2 or 3 have died from the injuries that they suffered. 3 others, we believe, suffered serious injuries as a result of this ambush. So a very violent episode that unfolded in the southern part of Normandy. That prisoner, Mohamed Amra, and those who managed to free that prisoner on the run, but being hunted by hundreds of law enforcement officers from the French police.
This seems to be a real, almost like a real-life sort of movie situation. This prison break on a road, at a checkpoint, at a toll point on a French motorway. This seems just incredibly dramatic, and again, not to do with terrorism, but to do with organised crime.
Yes, and as you say, it does sound like the script from a movie, but the consequences are real world and very graphic indeed, with those prison officers shot by those AK-47s. We're told that of the 2 officers that are confirmed to have died, one was in his 50s, leaves a wife and children. The other in his 30s, leaves a wife who is pregnant. And as I say, reports that 1 other prison officer may have been killed, but that has not yet been confirmed. But yeah, I mean, just absolutely horrific and linked not to terrorism, but linked to the sort of the gang violence that plagues many cities in France, particularly in the south in Marseille, where we're told that Mohamed Amra had links to with this narcotics network that he headed, a very violent network responsible, according to French authorities, for a great deal of harm in that community, including the homicide and attempted homicide of gang rivals.
The French Prime Minister has just come out to say that the French Republic has come under attack. He says our entire justice system is under attack. And of course, he goes on to say, I would like to pay tribute to the victims. The whole of France will be watching.
Yes, indeed. So what you've got in terms of the response, of course, those officers from the gendarmerie, who are effectively paramilitary police officers responsible for policing rural areas of France, but they are being assisted by other law enforcement agencies who have been brought into that area. Mm-hmm. And of course, what they will always do in the first instance is work out an area where they believe this particular gang could have got to in the time it's taken them to respond. They throw up roadblocks.